So how, what if, would, or could happen is usually where I would start, but this has no explanation. Goku is just born as a Super Saiyan 4. To give you some idea of what that means, you need to know the power boost of Super Saiyan 4. This transformation originated from the GT world, which is non-canon. Goku becomes Super Saiyan on top of Great Ape, and then he controls that to turn into that transformation. The power boost from this is speculated to be around 10 and 12,000. Some people assume it's in the lower 4 to 6,000 range, but I assume that it's in the higher ups. And that's far greater than not only Super Saiyan 1, 2, but also 3. However, it's still less than half of the God multiplier. Goku's power level at birth was just 2, and if we apply the Super Saiyan 4 multiplier on top of that, which would be 12,000, puts his detected power at 24,000. Again, to give you an idea, that's stronger than Vegeta in the Saiyan Saga, and already stronger than Dodoria. Obviously, this power level doesn't go unnoticed. Whoever is nurturing Goku, and everyone who has their scatter on would detect the power. But their scatters would break at 20,000. A lot of people would think that it's a malfunction, but not the King. Being that his power level is twice as large as Broly's, King Vegeta would be even more alerted. He's seen a normal power level like that before, but not one that makes the body switch. Is this the actual Super Saiyan? He can't risk it, so he has to exile the boy. Bardock and Guinea, however, are also on high alert. As soon as Guinea hears about her son's abnormally high power level, she remembers back 5 years ago, where King Vegeta exiled the boy for being stronger than the prince. She freaks out and contacts Bardock, who immediately rushes down to planet Vegeta as fast as he can. At the same time, King Vegeta is preparing a pod to send Kakarot away. However, Bardock arrives and with Guinea blasts through the king's quarter, landing an unexpected kick to the king, sending him crashing back in his throne. Bardock sees that there is no point in pleading his case. This was treason against the king, so he tells Guinea to just run. She had prepared a pod, and as the king's guards approach the duo, they put in coordinates for Earth, and send the boy off. Kakarot puts out his hand, screaming for his parents as he's sent flying into space. One of the guards sees the pod in the air, and tries to destroy it with a blast, but Bardock grabs the gun before he can get a clear shot. However, the pod is still grazed and damaged, putting Goku at a different course than originally. He's still headed for Earth, but where? They don't have any time to find out though. Bardock and Guinea are arrested for treason, but that won't matter. Just a couple of days later, Frieza rallies all the Saiyans together and destroys the planet for good. This ends all the Saiyans except for our 6. Vegeta, Goku, Raditz, Nappa, Paragus, and Broly. Goku would arrive on Earth, but like I said, his pod was knocked off course. This would land him at Kami's lookout. On a random day, Kami notices a bright object in the air. He quickly tells Mr. Popo to get ready. Maybe this is an alien threat. He senses a power thousands of times stronger than him. Kami fears this may be something too powerful. But the pod crashes down onto the lookout, and then nothing. The two assume a fighting stance as they approach the spacecraft. It opens up, and out comes a baby? Kami's shocked. A baby with such high power levels? He goes up to the baby, still on high alert, and reads its mind. This is a simple technique that even Goku was able to do, and Kami, God of Earth, Namekian, the person who created the Dragon Ball, and probably the person who taught Goku how to do this, should be able to do so as well. Reading the boy's mind, he realized that this is no ordinary child. Name, Kakarot. Species, Saiyan. Planet, Vegeta. Homeworld, deceased. Kami feels a relation to the boy. He knows he's from somewhere else too, but with no idea of where, he thinks that he can't just send the child back, because his home planet was destroyed, obviously. But he also can't send the boy down to Earth. He won't be able to control the immense power within him, and possibly destroy everything. This leaves him with one choice: train Kakarot. Goku isn't named Goku, as you may guess. Since Kami knows his name, he'll be called Kakarot. Kami would have a difficult time taking care of Kakarot. Just an accidental touch from him could hurt the god. However, every now and then, Kakarot taps out of the Super Saiyan 4 form. It seems that it's a random and can be triggered. There's really no way to learn how to control it, at least with the knowledge Kami has. But as Kakarot learns manners and meditation, he's able to slowly calm himself. This, however, still wouldn't be enough. Kami decides to use the time room. No, not the room of spirit and time. This is something else. It was showcased to Goku as a child, and to the humans while training for the Saiyan's attack. In this, Kakarot sees his own kind, and Kami allows for him to go through and fight. With his 25,000 power level though, this is a breeze for him. He doesn't even really have to try. But the reason for it was not to get stronger, or to fight, it was to learn. Experience with his form, something that Kami could not give him. Through training, Kakarot is able to harness and control this power, eventually to the point where he can tap in and out of it. This would be a few years after he arrives, Kakarot would probably be around 8, giving him around 5 years of training for this, so I think it's a long time coming. Now a few more years pass, and obviously he would be training throughout. This would also make Kami a lot stronger. Every now and then they would do extremely light sparring, like father-son bonding. While Kami isn't Kakarot's biological father, he did raise the boy. Bulma eventually goes looking for the Dragon Balls, and she runs across an alive Gohan. Most events would be changed. Everything from Roshi to Oolong to Yamcha to the Pilaf gang is easily gone through with Gohan. Bulma gets to make her wish, and she wants to wish for a boyfriend, but sees Yamcha there and ends up making the strawberry wish. Some more time passes and Krillin arrives at Roshi's. Like I mentioned in my Ox King Raised Goku What If, Krillin training without Goku would make him slightly weaker and less disciplined. The tournament would come around and Jackie Chan would pretty easily win. The Red Ribbon Army arc though goes a lot different. Throughout the years, Kakarot has been with Kami, and notice while he's the god of Earth, he doesn't really do anything to protect it. Kami even forbids him from going down there. One day, Kakarot notices soldiers right under the lookout, at a village he'd been looking over since he was a little kid. Jumping down from the lookout, Kakarot charges in on the soldiers and takes them all out with no difficulty. Bora and Upa are saved by him, and they thank him. Kakarot's blood is boiling from the fight. It was easy, but this feeling, he's never had it except that one time where he trained in the time room. Kami's angered. He teleports down to Earth and grabs Kakarot, taking him back up. He explains that controlling who lives is not their decision. Kakarot argues that he couldn't just let those people die when he could do something to stop it. Those people are waging war, are trying to steal the Dragon Balls that he created. The deaths of these people were his fault. He tells Kami that whether or not you like it, I will go down to help these people. I couldn't save my own. Kami's left standing as Kakarot jumps down. He follows by going on his own first adventure. The Red Ribbon Army goes a lot different though, because Kakarot doesn't really need a radar. He isn't hunting for a Dragon Ball, he just goes on to the Red Ribbon bases one by one and destroys them all. He beats Colonel Silver, General Blue, Tao Pai Pai, everybody. Jiro doesn't even survive. Kakarot makes sure to blow the entire base to bits. He isn't goody two-shoe at all. He never hit his head and was raised as a son of God. He knows all people aren't good. He doesn't have that same mindset as he did while being raised up with Gohan. Kakarot also participates in the next tournament. He felt like doing something that he would enjoy. It seems he enjoys fighting, so this seems like the perfect time to test his power. What he runs into is pretty disappointing. Kakarot has all the same matches that ends up in the finale with Tien, except he easily wins. Roshi takes an interest in the boy, however. He can tell something's up with him. He's not just a normal kid. The King and Piccolo arc is next, except there is no Dragon Ball at the tournament. There's no Power Pole, and no Krillin being friends with Goku. So luckily Krillin doesn't die. Kakarot's contacted by Kami after the tournament. First, to say that he is proud of the boy, and that he was wrong. Secondly, to inform about the threat of King Piccolo. He had been released and his minions are on the hunt for the Dragon Balls. Kami explains to Kakarot that he can't kill the demon, because they're linked, Kami with him, and if he killed King Piccolo that he would die too. He tells Kakarot to use that technique he learned while training. Kakarot goes on a mission to hunt down for the Dragon Balls, obviously. But, of course, he doesn't have the radar due to previous events. This is where something else that Kami said comes into play. That Bulma girl is a tournament. Find her and ask her for her dragon radar. It's an odd request when Bulma hears it, but Kakarot explains that the world will end if she doesn't help him. Bulma doesn't really know what he's talking about and just gives him the ball. Kakarot goes around and collects a bunch until he runs into Tambourine, who he kills. He then runs into a few more children of Piccolo and takes them out too. Drum is easily taken care of as a last child, and then the big boss himself. Except, not really. Goku roughs him up a bit and then uses the Mafuba to seal him away. He learned this a while ago as he was a kid, because Kami is his teacher, and of course Kami would think that it's a cool technique to have, something that could be useful later on. He returns to the lookout afterwards, puts away the jar, and then goes back down, because he has a date. Before entering the tournament, he met a girl named Chi-Chi. She was taking things a little too fast and asked to marry him, but Kakarot was simply down for the dating aspect. It works out between them, and after a year they get married. Gohan is born late, but that doesn't really matter, a few years would now pass, and from a young age, Kakarot tries to see if Gohan has the same power as him, but turns out, he doesn't. This Super Saiyan 4 gene would not pass on to Gohan. It doesn't make sense to. However, because Kakarot is stronger, and still a good person, Gohan would have a larger amount of S cells. That will come into play later on. There's no reunion at Kame House, because Kakarot doesn't really know anyone there, except for that brief meeting with Bulma, and his fight with Krillin at the tournament. This means Raditz would come to Kakarot's front door instead. He doesn't have a Piccolo encounter, again, obviously because of previous events. Kakarot though senses the high power level and rushes outside thinking it's a threat. He gets serious, but what he gets is unexpected. A tall man with long, dashing hair and a green blob on his face. He then says, "Hello, brother." Kakarot stares at Raditz, not knowing what to think. Who is he? Raditz elaborates on what he meant by brother. Of course, it means what it sounds like, they're brothers. They're from a race called the Saiyans, and have the same parents, obviously. Kakarot knows about the Saiyans. Kami told him where he was from, but he thought he was the last after his world was destroyed. Raditz just shakes his head no, saying there are others, but they're under the rule of an emperor, explaining that they need his help to defeat him. Raditz would know about his brother's high power level. His father and mother told him that Kakarot was going to be rescued and sent to Earth because of that power. He thought they could use that to defeat Frieza. Raditz doesn't make any moves against him, and is cautious, because he knows if what his parents said was true, then Kakarot could swat him like a fly. Raditz says, "How about you show me some of that power?" Kakarot has no problem doing that. He loves to fight. He doesn't transform into a Super Saiyan 4 yet, but he does power up. Just the power from his max base is around Nappa. Raditz seems disappointed, but then Kakarot starts to power up even further, blowing Raditz away. When the smoke clears, he stands there in Super Saiyan 4. Raditz's eyes widen. His scouter breaks, with the last power level being 500,000. Vegeta and Nappa were on the other side, and also saw the scouter reading. They think it's a scouter malfunction, but Vegeta is a little worried. What if this Kakarot is extremely powerful? Is he the legendary Super Saiyan? Raditz seems to think so. After seeing his power level multiply 1,000-fold and the appearance change, there's no doubt about it. Raditz seems ecstatic. They can finally kill Frieza and be free of the rule. Now hear me out. I think Kakarot would be more than happy to help. This Frieza guy seems like somebody who might actually be able to give him a fight. Plus, this so-called brother of his, he hasn't known, and anybody from his kind. He's just super excited to get to know them. Maybe they can get to know each other and it won't be all that bad. Kakarot invites his brother over for dinner. He's super confused. This isn't Saiyan-like, but being that he is in a good mood and loves to eat, he comes on in. Kakarot introduces him to his wife and son. Gohan is especially interesting. A hybrid? Maybe he has abnormal power too. But maybe. After eating, Kakarot and Raditz go far away and start to spar. Raditz says that the journey will be about a year. He thinks that maybe they should train a little before, to get Raditz's power level a little higher. So for a month, Raditz and Kakarot do high intense training. Every time Raditz gets stronger and gets a Zenkai, boosting him further. I would say that by the end of the month, he would definitely be above Nappa, like 7,000 to 8,000-ish, because he's training with a quote-unquote legendary Super Saiyan. They hop in the pods and go off, talking on the way. Raditz tells his brother about stories from their past, talking about their parents, and how Saiyans were thriving before Frieza took over. This small talk eventually leads up to Raditz talking about his life, how Vegeta and Nappa, the Saiyans he's with, and the last of their kind to his knowledge, are kinda assholes, and never seem to give a damn about him. But with Kakarot and his new power level, they could stand up to them, and after they, together, defeat Frieza, they can rule the universe together. What? Kakarot stops him right there. Rule the universe? No. If he defeats Frieza, Raditz will come with him and live a life. Start to do what he loves. Fight, but not rule. If it comes to it, he will kill Vegeta and Nappa, and even him. Just because you're my brother, Raditz, doesn't mean your evil doings will slide. Raditz gulps. You know what? Maybe fighting and living isn't that bad. A lot of time passes and eventually they run into Vegeta and Nappa. They try to pick on the two low-class Saiyans, but Raditz punches Nappa miles away. Kakarot turns into Super Saiyan 4 and stares at Vegeta. I'm here to help you, to stop this threat. If you get in my way or do any evil, I will kill you. Understanding the ultimatum, Vegeta takes a step back, collects Nappa, and says they need to train first. While Kakarot is extremely strong, the other three are nothing compared to even Ginyu. They start training, and that's what they do for 6 months. Now this would be similar to the gravity training that Goku did, without gravity, and except for 6 days, it's 6 months, which is a lot of time to train. So I feel like all of them would get a minimum 20 times increase in power, considering they are training with Kakarot. This puts Kakarot and Nappa's base at 80,000, Vegeta's at 360,000, and Raditz at 160,000. Now, hear me out. Kakarot would be weaker than Raditz and Vegeta in base. He is kind of not getting that much benefit from this fight because he is the stronger one and is kind of busy working with everybody else. So while his base is weak, his transformation puts him above everybody else by miles. So moving on, they hop in their pods and head to Frieza Planet 79. Once there, Vegeta and Nappa just start to blow everything up, killing every soldier in sight, exploiting all the technology and buildings. Frieza obviously would notice this and send in Zarbon and Midoriya. For extra assistance in case they need it, he calls in the Ginyu Force, who are just a little further away from the planet. Zarbon and Midoriya assume a fighting stance, but Raditz gets in front of both of them and with a single ki blast evaporates them. The Ginyu Force come and try to fight, but Nappa kills Raccoon and Goldo. Vegeta kills Jason Birder, and powering up into Super Saiyan 4, Kakarot wastes no time in killing Ginyu. To put this in simple words, this will be a massacre. The big boss Frieza steps up, and the group tell Kakarot to stay back as they want to get a stab first. While being a lot more powerful than before, Frieza's first form is more than enough to deal with all three of them at once. Vegeta comes close, but not that close. Kakarot starts to fight Frieza, holding back heavily, and he isn't actually that disappointed yet. After some time, he turns it up, which forces Frieza to turn it up. Going into his second form, Frieza doubles his power, fighting Kakarot on par once more. This is getting exciting, Kakarot thinks. Somebody who can finally match up to him? This excitement makes him power up further and further, eventually to a point where Frieza can't keep up. He then powers up in his final form, Kakarot is blown away by. At first, but after a second, he lets out more of his power and it just goes back and forth for a while. Until Frieza uses his max power and Kakarot starts to pull a Superman and just beat the hell out of him. Frieza's max power doesn't even match up to anywhere near Kakarot's. He's swiftly killed. But wait, there's more. King Cold arrives on the planet after hearing it was under attack, and his forces rush down to take on the Saiyans. Kakarot pulls out 3 Senzu beans and gives it to the 3 Saiyans, causing a huge Zenkai, like Namek level Zenkais, to occur. Prepared, they rush in to counter, and once again it's a massacre. King Cold tries to fight Kakarot, and that doesn't go so well. He too is quickly discarded. Kakarot then says they should head to Earth. Hesitant at first, Vegeta doesn't want to listen, but then he says screw it because there's really nowhere else for him to go. Nappa follows him, and Raditz was going to go anyways. They arrive, and Kami contacts Kakarot, making sure this isn't going to be a problem. Kakarot just says not to worry. If they try and kill anyone, he'll just kill them. Raditz settles down in a house near Kakarot's that they built together, and they all really need to get professions this time around. Raditz tries to become a boxer. He's super powerful and loves to fight. If there's a job out there for him, it's either a bounty hunter or boxer. Speaking of, Vegeta becomes a bounty hunter. Because he's not going to be with Bulma or even knows Bulma, he needs to actually get a job. He quickly climbs to the top with his speed and precise kills. He races to the front of the line, eventually matching up to the likes of the metallic assassin. Nappa, on the other hand, becomes a farmer. This seems like something he would want to do, because of his Cyberman days. While he doesn't really plant them and get them to blow somebody up, he did like the planting and growing process. It works a similar way with farming on Earth. 3 years would pass, in peace, and it actually remains that way. Hear me out, Kakarot never went to Yardrat, so a lot of you may immediately assume that no heart virus, but many people also assume he could have gotten it from his childhood, the way he lived as a kid. But he lived with Kami this time around and in great condition. Therefore, we eliminate the 2 ways that he could have possibly gotten the heart virus. This means, yay, Kakarot stays alive. As y'all remember from part 1, Kakarot also destroyed all Red Ribbon people, including that of Jiro, so no android threats. This then leads us to 7 more years of peace, until the threat of Babidi and Dabura arrive. Instead of 7, we get 10 years of peace this time around. Goten is born, but no Trunks, because Vegeta and Bulma aren't a thing. Vegeta hasn't even met Bulma. The Saiyans continue to train, and sometimes with each other. They don't gain a liking, but instead respect. In this time, Kakarot would be able to improve greatly on his base form. Same as the others, their base would still be much weaker than their Buu Saga counterparts, because they didn't train as intensely or get any time chamber training. It's been made clear throughout the series that the Z Fighters train harder when they know that a threat is coming, which they do not know of. However, they all do manage to unlock Super Saiyan and all grades of Super Saiyan, with Raditz and Vegeta learning Super Saiyan 2 as well as Kakarot. His strongest form by far would still be Super Saiyan 4, of course. Gohan would still grow up, and while he isn't born with Kakarot's same transformation, there is a level of power we have to explore within him. It would be wrong to give Gohan no special powers, but I believe that in some way, the gene would be passed on. Because Gohan is Kakarot's son and a half-breed, he does not have the same powers. When training with Kakarot or his uncle, he has rage bursts in which his eyes turn yellow like his father. As he grows older, Raditz focuses on teaching his nephew how to control his power. Gohan also has a hard time transforming into a Super Saiyan. It doesn't work the same way with him. Some could say he's like Broly. This yellow eyes form I'm talking about is of course Ikari, which many people suggested I should do. You guys didn't want Gohan to be born with the Super Saiyan 4 gene, because that seemed repetitive, but many of you told me to implement it in a way like this. I read the comments, guys. So Gohan is born like Broly. He wouldn't be able to unlock Super Saiyan with this though, because he never received such a high amount of rage. Gohan is more motivated to train because of Raditz, and with this much higher potential, he manages to reach above the levels of his Buu counterpart, even without Super Saiyan. I think he would still meet Videl and join the tournament. We did discuss the Buu arc in the last What If, but this would definitely be different because none of the Z fighters are there. I feel like Krillin might show because he wants to make money, but that's it. Nappa also doesn't come. He's focused on the farm and is growing old, so he isn't interested in tournaments. I would also like to talk about Vegeta. He's now the #1 known assassin on Earth. Tao Pai Pai was a rival, but rich mob bosses were not interested in dying, so they hired Vegeta to kill him. Tao tried to fight Vegeta, but we all know how that fight would go. Shin and Kibito are at the tournament, and they allow for Gohan's energy to be taken after he goes Ikari. He was almost able to escape with brute force, but not fully, so his energy still gets taken. This provides 70% for Buu instead of the normal 50% due to Gohan's increase in strength. They all follow suit, but Dabura doesn't stone anyone. However, he still manages to kill Kibito. Remember, Kakarot is much more serious and isn't like Goku at all. So as soon as he notices Dabura's speed and power, as well as the fact that he killed an ally, he powers up all the way to Super Saiyan 4 and starts a fight with him. This is a lot of energy Kakarot's giving off, so Shin tells him to end it quick, and Kakarot does so, with a single punch through the gut. Dabura is killed. Kakarot was raised as a son of God. He isn't stupid. If he can neutralize a threat that can destroy the universe, he will do it. This pushes him to blast the entire ship that Babidi is on, revealing all the Majin soldiers, which Gohan and Vegeta fight and easily defeat. Babidi and the seal are the only things that remain. Kakarot gets in the wizard's face instantaneously, grabbing his throat. He looks over and notices Buu's egg, 90%. All the energy given out provided an extra 20%, but it doesn't matter. Kakarot kills Babidi, and the day is won. Shin deals with everything left. Kakarot also mentions to not worry about Kibito. He can revive him with the Dragon Balls, and he does not disappoint. A few more years would pass before Beerus awakens and comes looking for the Super Saiyan God. By now, Gohan has evolved his abilities into being able to achieve Super Saiyan. He rampaged, but his father powered up into Super Saiyan 4, along with Raditz using Super Saiyan 2, and tried to stop him. Gohan proved to be an even stronger force than Kakarot, but he was stopped with a strong enough attack. Kakarot taught him to use his transformation, with the Room of Spirit and Time. Now, if Gohan is like Broly, then his power rivals Broly, if not surpassing it. Imagine that training with a Kakarot who has Super Saiyan 4. Not only would Gohan be extremely powerful, but his father would become extremely powerful from this training as well. Beerus comes looking for the Super Saiyan God. Kakarot thinks that it might actually be his transformation. The golden one is Super Saiyan and everyone has it, but this is a form that no one has been able to get to. So he fights Beerus. Kakarot's power would actually be comparable to a Super Saiyan God, which satisfies Beerus, but Whis looks into it and discovers the real reason behind the unique transformation. He explains, this transformation appears to be a combination of both the Saiyan's Grade 8 power and their Super Saiyan transformations, creating a sort of wrathful Super Saiyan. This is not Super Saiyan God, however. Beerus is annoyed, but satisfied with the fight. He debates destroying the Earth. He thinks that one more fight might satisfy him. Gohan is thrown up there. His Super Saiyan is pretty controllable, and he realizes that he might be able to put up a fight. He will have to use it. Beerus is freaked out by the power. This almost rivals him. He has a great time fighting Gohan though, but when Beerus uses his full power, Gohan can't match up, so he is defeated still. Beerus thinks he's satisfied, and Kakarot asks to be trained by him. Beerus realizes if he does not want to be beaten by one of these mortals in power, then he might as well. But it's Whis training for the most part, with Beerus doing some training because he doesn't actually want to be surpassed by Gohan or Kakarot for that matter. Speaking of, Kakarot would achieve Super Saiyan God, and he's able to handle the power much better, as well as unlocking Super Saiyan Blue much faster, because of how he was born. He was born being able to stack transformations together, so that does him well. Frieza would eventually be revived, but he isn't in pieces, so he's able to command the next wish. Frieza then asks for King Cold to be revived. His final wish is wasted by Pilaf's crew, so he kills the Pilaf gang and goes to space to train. Both Frieza and King Cold train to achieve higher powers because they got wiped by Kakarot earlier. They unlock their golden forms and then attack Earth. Earth's forces are pretty weak at the moment, consisting of Nappa, Gohan, and Vegeta, because Raditz left to train with his brother. However, there are more than enough to deal with the Force, and Gohan is literally Broly. So do you even think Frieza and Cold stand a chance? I would love for this to be an epic fight, I really would, because it would make a great movie. Gohan, Broly versus King Cold and Frieza? But not continuing, Vegeta and Nappa, who wouldn't really do anything in this fight, because it's way out of their league. Gohan bodies Cold and Frieza. They put up sort of a fight together, but Gohan grows stronger as the fight goes on, which eventually leads to him killing the both of them. Kakarot hears about this and is proud of his son. But the Tournament of Destroyers is up next, which would also go very differently. The fighters would also be very different. Kakarot, Raditz, Gohan, Vegeta, and Goten. Goten is like his brother and would also have Ikari. His body is way too small to handle the power of Super Saiyan though, so that doesn't work out for him. But he is still an extremely strong warrior. Nappa wanted to just be a spectator, so that's what he is. Kakarot and Raditz go into train in the Room of Spirit and Time, with Vegeta joining because after Frieza, he realizes he's way out of his league. He's able to learn Super Saiyan God from the two other godly Saiyans in the room. It's all he learns, so he focuses on just Super Saiyan God, no Blue, making God his go-to transformation and nearly perfected. In the Time Chamber though, Kakarot also discovers a new level of power, combining two transformations to make an extremely powerful result. We'll see more about that later. Goten will be given the chance to go first in the tournament, and he quickly realizes brute strength won't do it against Botamo. He isn't just strong, he learned from his father, uncle, and brother, so technique, martial arts, and smarts aren't new to him. He figures out Botamo's weakness, but also thinks smart like Gohan did in the Tournament of Power. Using both smarts and power, he lifts Botamo off the stage, slowly, while using punches, and eventually throws him out of the ring. Brute strength won't do against Frost though, because he cheats and poisons Goten. Kakarot realizes something went wrong there, so he goes next, and knocks Frost out with one punch. However, he then searches him, and finds the needle, which he shows to the ref. Frost loses, then is disqualified, and discredited to the whole of Universe 6. Vegeta is a hard case for Kakarot, literally. But instead of going for insults, Kakarot doesn't play around. He literally powers up into Super Saiyan Blue, and knocks Vegeta out with brute force. Vegeta might be strong, but he isn't that strong. Kaba is also interesting to Kakarot, and much like Vegeta, he teaches the boy Super Saiyan, his own way, which isn't beating him to a pulp. After that, he powers up to Super Saiyan himself, and fights Kaba, defeating him respectfully, as well as showing him the next level of power, Super Saiyan 2. He doesn't jump ahead to God, because he wants the next level of power for the young Saiyan to be actually achievable. Not to shit on Kaba, but there was no way he was gonna unlock God or Blue without God Key training, which he can only get from Champa or Vados. So yeah, moving on though, the legendary assassin, Hit. Kakarot realizes Hit's a danger from the beginning, so he powers up to Blue and starts the fight. As soon as Kakarot nears Hit, he uses his time skip to get behind Goku and strikes a pressure point, which gets a Saiyan on the ground. Kakarot can't believe it. He didn't even see Hit move. How can someone defeat him? Not for long, he thinks. He has to be using some sort of technique. No one can move so fast that he can't even see it. Kakarot goes all out and thinks of a strategy. The first half of it isn't pleasant. He just stands there and lets Hit beat on him until finally Kakarot blocks one of his punches. One turns to two. Two turns into a whole bloody fight. Kakarot is able to predict where Hit will attack, and Hit's just as shocked, improving as quickly as he can to match Kakarot's new heights. After being amused for a while, he decides to power up into what he had been speculating could be possible. A transformation that is competing with my favorite at the moment, Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4. Before you dislike, hear me out. I know Limit Breaker isn't canon, but it is an awesome transformation, and I mean awesome. Like, it's something that could be achieved in this story. The concept is basically Super Saiyan 4 plus God Ki, so Kakarot decides to combine his roots with future transformations, and we know this is so much more powerful than Super Saiyan Blue. Dragon Ball Heroes shows Blue Goku and Vegeta getting wiped by Black Janemba, and even Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Goku and Vegeta getting wiped by him. But then, Limit Breaker shits on Black Janemba, so Hit is screwed to say the least. He's easily defeated by Kakarot showing this new power, intriguing to Whis and shocking to Beerus, as well as everyone else. Zeno then arrives. Kakarot knows not to meddle with him though, but he does still recommend another tournament. While Kakarot is much smarter and more serious than Goku, he's still a Saiyan and always craves a good fight. Especially now that his strongest opponent, not counting Beerus, got wiped by his new transformation. Zamasu though is not very pleased with his discovery. It's been a few months since the Tournament of Destroyers ended, and in that time, our heroes have been up to a considerable amount of training. The main people involved would be Kakarot, Vegeta, and Raditz. Gohan isn't included because without Piccolo, he doesn't have the motivation or the mentor to train further. The two brothers had been training with Whis and both unlocked unique powers of their own, with Raditz going for a more normal Super Saiyan Blue, while Kakarot went for Limit Breaker. This left Vegeta to find his own power, and he did train in the Time Chamber with Kakarot and Raditz, getting him Super Saiyan God. However, the Saiyan does feel he is far behind the two others, and wants to get his own power up, but that's also easier said than done. His original goal is to unlock Super Saiyan 4, and he enlists the help of Nappa to do it. Now that the group knows the origin of the form, they know all it needs is a Great Ape combined with Super Saiyan. Since Vegeta can already control his Great Ape really well, all he needs to do is stack Super Saiyan on top. He heads into the Time Chamber with Nappa, who only agrees to go in for 2 months because he's old and doesn't want to lose too much time of his life. Vegeta needed a Bloodwave machine, so he asked around and met Bulma, someone who grew a liking to Vegeta and Vegeta back. She was surprised to learn about Vegeta's origins, and after doing some research, she's able to make one for him. And that's what they ended up using to transform Vegeta into a Great Ape. The first few times doesn't go so well, but eventually with enough practice, Vegeta manages to stack the two forms together. The control part is a struggle for him because he doesn't have much to focus on. However, his need to get stronger and become the strongest is leading him to slowly control this power. Eventually, he does manage to shrink down and become a Super Saiyan 4. He does this with about 1 month left in the chamber, which he uses to train with Nappa. Nappa isn't the best training partner because he's limited to Super Saiyan 2. However, this training helps Vegeta control the Super Saiyan 4. With his training not being the best, Vegeta convinces Whis to take him up to Beerus's planet, where he shows off Super Saiyan 4 to the other Saiyans. They're impressed, but it's nothing too great considering that both of them have passed that power by a long shot. Beerus is the one to take most interest in Vegeta, seeing that he doesn't have a path to follow. Kakarot and Raditz continue to evolve their power, and with Vegeta getting stronger, they have better training, which makes him even more powerful, stronger than in canon. Vegeta starts getting tutored by Beerus on a certain destructive power. Meanwhile, Zamasu, a Kai from Universe 10, is getting angrier and angrier as the days goes by. He eventually cracks and asks Zuno how to locate the Super Dragon Balls, which he uses to make a wish. He wishes to switch bodies with the Saiyan known as Kakarot. Shocker. Now here's where some complicated stuff will take place. In this version of the story, there was no future timeline. Trunks never came back because he never needed to. There was no android, no dead Goku, so when Zamasu takes Kakarot's body, he takes the body of the Kakarot in the main timeline. So randomly, one day on Beerus's planet, Kakarot's appearance fully changes to Zamasu's, while Kakarot Black, who we will just call Black for simplicity reasons, goes to the past and recruits another version of himself who he wishes for immortality to attack the main timeline. They swiftly kill Gowasu and then travel to the other universes to kill their Kai. Whis immediately feels the death of the other gods as well as the immobility of the other angels. He informs Beerus and they realize that these two events might in some way be related. No one in the group knows instant transmission, but Supreme Kai knows a teleportation technique and he's alerted of the threat. Therefore he uses the Kai to get to Beerus' planet where they come up with a plan. Whis looks into his staff and realizes that the appearance of Kakarot has changed to a Kai in training from Universe 10. The guess is he stole Kakarot's body. Now the other gods are taken out one by one, with Universe 7 being the only one left who has a usable god of destruction, Angel, and Kai. The Trinity. Black and Zamasu don't think it's the best idea to attack them because they will most likely die. Instead, they attack Earth, where the only defense is Gohan. Gohan has fully fell behind on training, as I mentioned earlier, so he is much weaker than he was in ROF. Not to mention, Zamasu and Black attack together because they know the strength of the fighters on Earth, or otherwise. They start destroying cities one by one, and it's mass destruction. While Black doesn't have the most strength right now, as soon as Gohan starts to defend the Earth, that changes. Quick intermission. I've decided to make a slight change in the story, and that's Gohan's strength. While he might be like Broly, I don't think it's fair to give him the power of Broly. So while he might have similar transformation and potential, it's not on the level of Broly to make him broken. That's just a small nerf, however, because Gohan is still powerful. But him not training at all affects more than that. Back to the story. Gohan and Black start their fight with Zamasu watching from the distance. The others notice what's going on, and with this, they rush back to Earth as fast as they can. It will take 30 minutes though, as mentioned by Whis in Dragon Ball Super. Black is on the losing foot from the beginning as Gohan's powered up in his Super Saiyan transformation. Gohan punches and kicks Black before questioning why he looks like his father, but Black gives no answer. He only scoffs in disgust of the power a mortal like Gohan has. Black retaliates as he gets stronger and stronger, landing a ki blast to Gohan's chest which sends him flying back into the city. He requests that Zamasu heal him, which is an ability Kais have. Kibito, a Kai in training, had this, so Zamasu, also a Kai in training, should also have it. This gives Black a huge Zenkai, like his Zenkais in canon, but even greater due to the higher damage he's receiving. He flies towards Gohan before landing a barrage of punches and kicks, followed by an elbow which crashes Gohan through multiple buildings. Black feels his power growing. He feels more like Kakarot every second that passes. But just as he's about to land the finishing blow, an aura of light comes through as Beerus, Whis, Vegeta, and Raditz show up. Black knows not to meddle with them yet, as he isn't as used to the body, but he's stopped when Raditz attacks him. Going into Super Saiyan Blue, Raditz reaches for Black, but just then, Zamasu comes in with a kick to Raditz, which is stopped by a hand from Vegeta, who punches Zamasu back. Black takes this as an experience opportunity, and Beerus doesn't seem to be intervening yet, so he decides to just attack Raditz, who's immediately overwhelmed. Raditz powers up further, which makes Black go on the defense, taking revenge for his brother and nephew. Raditz lands a combo on Black, followed by a thunderous kick sending Black into the mud. He tries to fly back up, but his body hurts too much. Raditz picks him up by the collar, and is about to punch him through the stomach when suddenly, his hand is blocked by Black's, whose aura starts to change into a rosé-type shade. Suddenly, his hair achieves the same color, and amplifies Black's power tremendously. Smirking, Black uses a blade to strike the confused Raditz in the chest, dropping him. Zamasu takes the chance to Kai over to Black and then Kai out. With this newfound power, they must be unstoppable. The group are shocked by the new transformation. The dude that looks like Kakarot and how strong he was? After that, they collect themselves. They all head to the lookout where their Dragon Balls are collected. They wish everyone back and try to get Kakarot's body back as well. But Shenron says he can't undo what was done by the Super Dragon Balls, which means Kakarot is out of the picture for now. The rest of the group, on the other hand, are not. Beerus is ready to intervene, but he and Whis are called to Zeno's place after the gods and Kais were taken out. The Grand Priest is intervening now too. Vegeta and Raditz train and wait for the return of the two. Speaking of, Zamasu and Black are on a planet close by, and are just as shocked to discover this new power as a group. Black is not that satisfied by it though. Don't get me wrong, he likes the power, but it's not what he expected. He was more keen to get the Limit Breaker form, which seems to be a much bigger power boost than the one he currently has. He and Zamasu have a plan to use the Time Ring and summon Super Shenron again. This time they will ask to receive instructions to get this power. This is abusing the power of Super Shenron, but they did this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Lo and behold, they discover what they need to do, and it doesn't seem that difficult. All Black has to do is turn into an ape, which sounds disgusting, but easy enough. I didn't mention this before, but Black does get a tail with his new body. Remember, Kakarot had a tail, so there is no reason Black wouldn't have one. He despises it, but since it looks like it will help him power up, he doesn't mind it that much. Of course it's filthy though. I just don't want to put a tail on every ender because that's too much work for the idea, so just imagine. With Zamasu's help, a god who can make just about anything, they can clearly make a fake moon, which turns Black into a giant raging ape. He has well control over it, considering that he is in the body of a person who had full control over said power. Black tries his power out, and while it's an increase, the ape transformation isn't much of an addition. He then tries the next step stated by Super Shenron. Stack the Super Saiyan transformation on top. Black doesn't have that, but he does have Rosé, which is apparently even more powerful. I mean, it was rivaling Gohan's Super Saiyan and overpowering that, and Gohan's extremely powerful, much more than everybody else's Super Saiyan, so that must make it stronger, right? Black assumes. This is an extremely powerful transformation to stack on Great Ape, and is not that much like Super Saiyan, which requires time. But Black is an overachiever, so with his godly status, they managed to stack Super Saiyan Rosé with Great Ape. And what does this make? A Rosé version of Super Saiyan 4. This comes with immense power, so great that it rivals that of Limit Breaker. Black is satisfied. He thinks the fur on his body is overkill. He's disgusted by the actual physical changes, thinking he started to become more and more like the mortals, these monkeys. But he finally has power beyond what they can comprehend. And without that Kakarot fellow who had the power to stop him, they can't do much to him. So he and Zamasu go back to Earth, where Vegeta, Gohan, and Raditz have been training themselves. But they did not expect Black to have gotten so much stronger. As he descends, Black lets out a roar that could be felt throughout the planet. He ascends over the moon and lets his purple, rosé aura flush through everyone's eyes. The blinding light clears and it reveals a purple-furred Black, with the looks of a Super Saiyan 4. The Z-Fighters are amazed by the power, shook even. Black and Zamasu stand in a godly manner. Well, mortals, how do you like the power of a god? Goku, Black, and Zamasu descend upon the Z-Fighters. Black's aura felt throughout the earth. His power so immense that even Vegeta and Raditz are left in awe. However, Vegeta smiles. Black wasn't the only one to learn something new recently. He charges towards Black, but Zamasu rushes to action and blocking his punch. Raditz comes in from the corners, attacking Zamasu and kicking him to the side. He starts his battle with the immortal Kai. For now, there's no way to beat him, but he far overpowers Zamasu. Raditz uses his max power to hold him off for as long as his stamina will last. Finally, Vegeta and Black have their chance to face off in an all-out fight using everything they have. Vegeta rushes at Black, turning into a Super Saiyan 4 to test his power against the opposers. Black has just unlocked his power, so he is struggling to use it quite a bit. This allows Vegeta to take control of the battle and create swift attacks using his transformation that Black doesn't have the capability to use yet. However, his raw strength far surpasses Vegeta's, so much so that eventually he's overtaken by that power. Vegeta's about to get stabbed to the chest, but just then, the entire battlefield shifts. Vegeta's ki spikes and a different aura surrounds him. He blocks a sword that was just shy of piercing his armor and into his skin. Vegeta looks up with purple eyes. He utilizes Ultra Ego. With his training with Beerus and the determination to do so, Vegeta achieves a power far beyond what Black would imagine possible. He is still able to put up a great fight for Ultra Ego Vegeta, but as the fight progresses, Vegeta simply gets stronger and stronger. Even though Black continuously gets stronger himself, it's hard for him to keep up with someone who is just constantly increasing in power like Vegeta is. He's just on the verge of losing, but Zamasu decides he can't let this happen. He sidesteps Raditz and charges towards Vegeta, who blows his head off easily. But Zamasu heals extremely quickly and starts to attack over and over and over again. Raditz tries his best to hold him off, but he won't have to for long. On another center of the universe, Beerus and Whis meet the Grand Priest, who requests that they collect the Super Dragon Balls and make the wish to reverse the immortality of the being known as Zamasu. To my knowledge, the Super Dragon Balls have no time limit before using, so all they have to do is recollect them again and make the wish for Goku's body to be given back to him so they can end this for good. Back on the battlefield, Gohan joins in, powering up and helping Raditz with Zamasu as his stamina is quickly depleting. Vegeta starts to lose his footing due to the immense damage he's taken from the brunt of the attacks that he has simply just tanked. We saw this in the Granola arc where Vegeta just runs out of gas. That would be the same case here. However, Gohan gives him a Senzu, which completely replenishes his stamina and strength. It looks slim for Black and Zamasu, and just when things couldn't get any worse for them, the Supreme Kai announces that Zamasu is no longer immortal. Gohan simply kills him, and the three hold down Black until the wish to reverse the body swap is made, a clean and clear-cut execution of the plan that they had made. However, all isn't well yet. Zeno is angry. He orders Goku to speak with him at once. As Goku arrives at Zeno's palace, he can see the funny, childish side of him has disappeared. This was a catastrophic event to all the universes. Zeno asks Goku what he can provide to change his mind about erasing everything. And being as Goku-like as he can get, he says, well, why don't you just hold a tournament, man? This will obviously result in the original events playing out, with 10 fighters from each universe needing to be gathered for an all-out brawl. The Universe 7 team starts to gather their fighters. There's many Saiyans on the planet. There's Goku, Vegeta, Raditz, Gohan, and Nappa. And with not too many options, they also decide to recruit Goten. This fills 6 of the spots, but unfortunately there aren't that many more Z fighters. All the humans at this point are fodder. And I don't mean nothing as in canon, I mean nothing as in nothing. So we have to take a trip to the other world, which, if you guys remember, Frieza and King Cold are gathered. They then travel out into the universes to find fighters that could potentially be of use. This obviously leads us into Broly, and Vegeta suggests his brother Tarbo. With extra time to gather, however, both Broly and Tarbo are able to spend half a day in the time chamber, which equates to 6 months of training. This harnesses their abilities, and with Vegeta and Goku as mentors, they're both able to unlock new powers. Broly being able to control Ikari, and Tarbo being able to go as far as Super Saiyan 2. With the team prepared, we head into the tournament. Like normal, majority of the weak universes are taken out pretty quickly. Goku and Raditz easily wipe out Universe 9, and to be honest, there wouldn't really be a challenge aside from Universe 6 and 11. I mean, we have a much stronger team, a Golden Frieza and Golden King Cold. Working together, they take out fighters left and right with simply their death beam. Broly would take out lower level fighters as he takes people on and eventually makes his way over to Kale. While Gohan fights Caulifla, he accidentally enrages Kale, which leads Broly to step in and take her down. However, Broly isn't playing around, he just takes her down easily, and no half measures. He knocks her straight out of the ring. Gohan then turns it up and defeats Caulifla. Vegeta goes to fight Toppo, wanting to test his Ultra Ego abilities, having sensed something in him. Something similar. He starts in blue and gauges Toppo's power. They seem to be on equal footing. Vegeta then talks about their similarities, to which Toppo says, "We have nothing in common." That's when Vegeta uses Ultra Ego and manhandles Toppo, forcing him to show off his God of Destruction form. This fight takes out a large majority of fighters. Anilaza tries to form, but he's swiftly taken care of by Raditz and Tarble. Goku and Jiren also start their big fight, with Goku using Limit Breaker to try and beat him. Limit Breaker goes a long way and actually forces Jiren to use a lot of his power. It comes down to a clash between Goku and Jiren's attack, as well as an attack between Toppo and Vegeta. While Goku is engulfed by his Spirit Bomb, Vegeta uses a final flash to evaporate Toppo's Hakai and knock him out. He then gets some ki from the fighters around him. Everyone then faces off against the last man standing, Jiren. This really isn't going to be that tough for Universe 7 to win. They pretty much have everyone. I mean, they could have lost Tarble and Gohan, but that still leaves basically every heavy hitter on the team. With Frieza, King Cold, Broly, Vegeta, Raditz, and then Goku once he recovers. Jiren can only fight for so long. When single attacks don't work, they all try to launch a collective blast. Goku accesses Ultra Instinct and fires a beam to Jiren's attack. Vegeta uses Ultra Ego and fires from a different angle, while Raditz uses a double Sunday to pin him down from the top. A combined effort that Jiren can't defend against. Broly then comes in with the final blow, taking Jiren with him as he slams into the World of Void, ending Universe 11. And no matter who gets the wish, I believe that would be bring back all the universes unless it's King Cold or Frieza, which they aren't going to get the wish either. So we all get our happy ending. For now, I'm going to let this series come to an end. While we still have the Moro arc and Granola arc, as well as the upcoming movie and GT, I would like to continue those further down the line. Please leave a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to never miss an upload. It's been your boy Saiyan, and I'll see you all next time.